Hey guys, I'm Gids. I don't hate Creed Aventus. I'm just going to give you my honest thoughts. I almost feel a bit scared to do this video because I know people are very passionate about Creed Aventus. I'm not here to slag it off. I'm just going to give you my honest thoughts and review about the fragrance. I'm going to tell you why this fragrance did not work out for me and why I returned it on two separate occasions. But if it's your first time stumbling across my channel, welcome. I'm Gids. I make videos about fragrances, so feel free to subscribe and support the channel. Let's get into Creed Aventus. Now, I've got the actual decant here. This is from eBay, but I'm going to be talking about the two actual full-size bottles of fragrances that I bought and returned. Let's talk about Creed Aventus. So, there's no denying that Creed Aventus is a great fragrance. I almost feel like it's a fragrance that all niche brands would love to have. This was created in 2010 by father and son, Olivier Creed and Erwin Creed, and I'm sure this is their best seller from the house of Creed. This is a fruity, woody, musky, smoky fragrance. So it's described as a chypre on Fragrantica, and chypres are all about citrusy fruits and oak mossy kind of base. To me, however, it's a very, very fruity, smoky fragrance. So I know that there is blackcurrant, bergamot, pineapple, which is what a lot of people say they get from this fragrance, and there is some bergamot in the fragrance as well. In the heart of the fragrance, you have the birch tar, which is where you get a lot of that smokiness that comes through. You also have some rose and some patchouli, and in the base you have the oak moss, the vanilla, there's some musk and some ambergris. So it is quite an interesting fragrance. When you look and analyze the notes that are in this fragrance, it is quite a clever kind of creation. It is a masterpiece. I will say this is a masterpiece. I'm going to talk about why it didn't work out for me in just a moment, but I have to acknowledge that this fragrance is a great fragrance. Now, this is an incredibly popular fragrance. I think it's one of the best-selling niche fragrances of all time, if not of all time. It's even a fragrance that a lot of companies have tried to replicate and have tried to clone. And I still don't think many companies have done it well. I think few have done it well, but there is only one Creed Aventus at the end of the day. One particular reviewer described this as a panty dropper fragrance. That kind of gives you an idea of how some people would describe this fragrance. I would not describe it as a panty dropping fragrance.
Well. Next question. See ya.
It's definitely a fragrance which a lot of men love, and I think a lot of women love to smell on men. Not all women, but I know a lot of women do. I first sampled this fragrance about 4-5 years ago, and immediately I saw what the hype was with this fragrance. Now, let's not deny it. This is a hyped. When you talk about hype in fragrances, Creed Aventus is number one. There is no fragrance which is hyped like Creed Aventus when it comes to niche fragrances in particular, and for good reason. It is a great fragrance. Now, when I first sampled it, as I said, I tried it, I loved it. It was very, very long lasting. I walked around, I was complimented non-stop. I even had one woman who chased me kind of into a store and asked me what fragrance I was wearing and wrote down the fragrance. I have never had a reaction like that to any fragrance, but this was the fragrance that had people chasing after me, and I was like, wow, I see what the power of Creed Aventus is. It was actually quite funny because my friend at the time was like, wow, people are actually running after you. I'm not gonna lie, I did feel, I was feeling myself, I thought, okay, all right, I see it, I see the power of Creed Aventus. But so I later went on to order this fragrance. I ordered it from Harrods, and the fragrance arrived. I sprayed this fragrance and I went about my business. But I noticed after a couple of hours, I couldn't smell the fragrance. And I was thinking, hold on a minute, is this the same fragrance that I sampled not long ago? Like, what's changed? What's different? So I looked it up, and I looked up Creed Aventus, like performance longevity. Like how you look up different things about fragrance. And I noticed that there were all these forums about, batch codes, which batch is the best batch. The 2015 was the best batch, the 2014, the 2016. The fragrance was reformulated in this year. And I thought, whoa. I have got no time for this. If I smell a fragrance in store, I expect it to smell the same when it comes and arrives in my hands. Like, I don't want to have to then think, oh, which is the batch, which is not. So I was very disappointed, and I decided to return the fragrance. You know, I put it back in its box, I sent it back to Harrods. They then challenged me and said, well, you've opened it, sir, you know, normally we don't allow customers. And I said, well, I'm sorry, it's not the same fragrance which I had tried previously. Anyway, after a long back and forth, they said, okay, we've investigated it and you're right, the fragrance is faulty. That was what they said. I wasn't backing down. I mean, I spent over 200 and something pounds on that fragrance. Sorry, it needs to be what I expect it to be. And then one day again, I went out and sampled the fragrance. And again, I noticed that the fragrance I had sampled on this occasion, it lasted on me, it had projection, it had longevity, and it smelled like what I remembered the first time. So I ordered it. This was from a store called Harvey Nichols in the UK. In London, it's like another luxury department store, similar to Harrods. The fragrance arrived and the same thing happened. After a couple of hours, I couldn't smell it. So I thought, okay, I don't understand what's going on with this fragrance. I'm going to return it. So I returned it again. Fortunately, they didn't challenge me. They just refunded me my money. But after that, it kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth. I thought, what is going on with this fragrance? So when I did my research, I came to realize that they had definitely, obviously, reformulated this fragrance on a number of occasions. It had been watered down. It wasn't the same fragrance. And I'm sorry, for me, it's not good enough. I haven't got the time, energy to be kind of looking around for which is the best. It was very, very disappointing. I felt really kind of disappointed with that whole experience. And I thought, okay, what do I do now? Do I just give up on the fragrance? Do I try and track down a batch that had better performance? And I just thought, you know what? I don't have the energy for this. I'm just going to let it go. It is what it is. It didn't work out for me. I will find another fragrance. Now, I then thought, okay, let me order at least a decan off eBay and then kind of just get it out of my system, you know, like I have a bit of a compromise. I enjoyed it. This lasted a bit longer. This gave me about 4 to 6 hours of longevity. Again, very, very strange, because when I first looked up reviews of this fragrance, people were saying it was a beast mode. And it is a very animalic, strong fragrance. Like, smelling it from the actual decan itself just now, it's very strong. It's a very, very strong fragrance, and you will smell it once you spray it on yourself. So this did perform a little bit better, but again, not as great as I expected. So I just gave up on Creed Aventus. I felt like this fragrance just doesn't like me. It wasn't meant to be, and my journey with Creed Aventus sadly ended there. I'm not one to slag off fragrances. It's not my style. I don't want to cause offense to anyone that has a fragrance, and I don't actually think it's a bad fragrance. I just think Creed as a brand, the House of Creed, got greedy, and it's actually put me off the House of Creed and their other fragrances. I'd rather put my money to maybe like Frederic Malle or Maison Francis Coeur de Dijon, or even my Miller Harris type of fragrances, which I love. So yeah, that's my spiel about Creed Aventus. It's a shame that sometimes these niche companies get really greedy, but popularity is what creates this sometimes. Yeah, that's my spiel about Creed Aventus. I hope you don't unsubscribe from the channel. I'm sure you won't. We can all have these conversations about fragrances as adults. We're all fragrance lovers, and I think, you know, sometimes we're going to agree to disagree, but that's why Creed didn't work out for me and why it has such sad memories. I wouldn't say it's even bad memories, but just sad memories. First world problems, I know, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Comment, of course. Tell me your thoughts about Creed Aventus. Do you own Creed Aventus? Do you want to own it? Do you like it? What are your thoughts about this fragrance? And of course, please subscribe and support my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.